Now recording. Nope, that's a different program. Who says that words? Zoom doesn't say that. Instead, hi, hello. you're you're not here to listen to some folks fret about security problems in the internet. No, you're here to watch a game that, if you don't know, was arranged through the Gauntlet, which is a community on the internet that gets together and plays tabletop role-playing games online. You can find all the stuff Gauntlet does at gauntlet-rpg.com. The link down below. Uh, Contains lots of stuff about playing and celebrating indie tabletop role-playing games. Stuff like blogs and forums. There's the month. There's the zine that the Gauntlet puts out called Codex, which usually contains supplements to existing games and original games itself. There is extensive podcasting network. And there's also like events like the Gauntlet Open Community Open Gaming Weekend, which is happening right now as we're talking. So I know, so I can't really just say, "Oh, look forward to that," because it's happening as we're playing this. But surely there'll be more events like that in the future. So we'll just shout that out. But as always, at least for me, one of the most important parts of Gauntlet is the Hangouts calendar to which this game was arranged. This is session 3 of our long 2-month look into Beam Saber, which is a Forged in the Dark game of mecha warfare by Austin Ramsey. We'll link down below. Forged in the Dark means this is a hack of Blades in the Dark by John Harper, which usually is, well, that game is about criminals, thieves, rogues, scoundrels in an industrial fantasy city. This game is about pilots, soldiers in a squad piloting gigantic, well, some cases gigantic war machines. War machines of varying size, but usually ones that outpace human ability by a considerable margin. Mechs, giant robots. That's the vibe we're going for. And yeah, but who are these people piloting these giant robots? I'm gonna get folks to introduce themselves, their name, pronouns, and the character that they're playing, and also shout out a cool thing they did last week. I'm gonna go right to left this time on the character keeper, if that's okay with folks, just to mix it up a bit. So Trev, why don't we start with you?
Hi, I'm Treb. I use he, him pronouns, and I am playing Naga Layton, call sign Vagabond. She is a ex-criminal, now fighting for the Celestial Church of the Celestial Myriad as penance for her crimes. And last week she ripped into one of the mechs with one of the enemy mechs with a particle cannon, which I am supposed to describe from now on.
Yes, in excruciating detail. If we can get this lovingly if it is an anime, this would be a very lovingly animated shot that's going to be reused 20 times throughout the rest of the season, because it just costs too much to animate. So if you could describe that, we'll get to it. If you have to use it again, which you might. Up next, Bethany, why don't you introduce yourself and your character?
Hi, I'm Bethany. They, them pronouns. I'm playing JD0, the scout, who his call sign is Moonshine. And last session, they decided to sneak in on foot during in the midst of a mech battle.
Worked out surprisingly well. Yeah, your other teammate who we'll get to had to use their mech. You just just slip it, it's fine.
It's easier to sneak without the giant robot.
Well, lucky enough, your teammate's giant robot isn't that gigantic. Speaking of, Laura, why don't you introduce yourself and your character?
Yeah, hi y'all. I'm Laura. I use she, her pronouns, and my character is named Crux, also she, her pronouns. Um, yeah, so looking at my character sheet here. Um, Crux is a wayward soul who is kind of a, adopted into the kind of church that we kind of take orders from. Um, but like in actuality she was kind of sold to the church by another faction for, and it's clear that she was kind of experimented on in some way shape or form, but she's not totally sure what changed, so she's trying to figure all that out. Yeah, last time I used my spider mech, and I think my name is something like all legs baby or something like that. um, and I kind of stealthed my way across the battlefield of mechs in my Spidey suit.
Hell yeah. Um, oh man, there's probably some mech fans out there debating whether it's just a backpack. It's not. Is that even a mech? It's like I don't give a damn. And neither should any of you. But yeah. Last but not the least, Mike, why don't you introduce yourself and your character?
Hi, I'm Mike. I use he, him pronouns. I'm playing Reverberation Nobel, the ace. And she has a very shiny, gleaming mech, which is a little bit out of character for our squad of the sneaky recon individuals, but that give me an opportunity to be a great distraction. I managed to take out some grunts. But then this banshee type mech kind of turned the tables on me and has now used my cape to foist me by my own petard. So that was like the cliffhanger we left on last week, which was very exciting.
Hell yeah. Love love to hoist people by their own petard. Glad to be able to do that. Okay. Before we get started, I do want to talk about the safety tools that we're using. Actually just bring up the tab in my browser here. Just to remind folks to have a look at our lines and veils in the safety links and now images tab. Basically, for those who don't know, lines are things that won't be crossed, just won't show up in the fiction at all. Veils are things that can happen in fiction, but we're like it's gonna get like a sentence or two, or we're not gonna concentrate on it, or it happens off screen. So it's not something we linger on, but it can still happen. There are some stuff that are also like asked first. So basically, if the detail is going to be introduced in the fiction, we'd poll the table first and see if folks are okay with that, myself included. I have ask you all to have a look through the list, and if there's nothing you want to add, because again, there's a living document, so things change. But if there is nothing, if you're okay with what's there at the moment, you can just type okay and the chat, and yeah, send there. Okay, all right, so we'll keep those in mind. The other safety tool that we're using is script change, which is a series of commands that let us, like, take further control of the net of the fiction to make sure everyone's in a safe and comfortable zone, so to speak. The commands we're using are in the roll for a party that we're using. And I'll just go through them. Basically, there's rewind, which is if you call for rewind, you back up to a specific point in the scene and do the scene over again, avoiding whatever issue led to the rewind and trying a different way. And it could be any sort of issue, like it could be there's a name, or there is like the general tone of the scene, or even like just the scene itself. If you want to rewind, I might have some questions on what we're trying to avoid, but respect if anyone calls for a rewind. just do it and try something else. There's also pause, which basically you can call pause for the action, so to speak, if you need a break for a variety of reasons. And it's part of the open door policy that we're using. Basically, you can pause if, like, say, it's an intense scene, you need to like hold on, wait, let's take a breath. Or if you need to take a bio break at any point, there's emergency you need to take care of, or you're more tired in your thought, need to step away from the table, or even like hold up if you were looking for some clarity, because there could be a lot going on. Certain games definitely have a lot going on. This is no exception to that, for sure. So yeah, so that's what the pause is for as well. That's perfectly fine if you want to ask, like, if you missed a detail or two. Again, it's a lot going on. On the last one in the rover party is fast forward, which you can call for if you want to fade to black and advance time as needed to avoid content or elements of play, or maybe just to move time forward in time. It's part of kind of like what we talked about with veils, in that, there might be moments where, like, we don't need to linger on this, we don't need to like see this, or we can just like fast forward and move on to the most interesting bits. That's perfectly fine. That's what the fast forward is for. Okay, so just a very quick recap of what happened last week. You were tasked by your handler, the very lovely, personable Meridian, with a recon mission. An espionage kind of mission. Basically, on the edge of Journey City, in the region called the Broken Bank, a space station run by the corporatocracy group Exodus Republic crashed, and you have been tasked with stealing some entire like mainframes worth of data from the crashed space station and replacing it with a decoy. And seems simple enough. Get in, get out. So what if the area that this place crashed on is patrolled by a quote-unquote armored transport solutions group, and one of you may have invariably kicked off a race between yourself and this other squad to get to that data? It's a war. Things happen. So it's kind of like let me just like reset the stage for where everyone is. So as mentioned, Verb is in their mech. The miracle, the miracle engine frame X2 Immortal, lovely, and is picking a fight with what looks like the ace of the Takuma Transport Solutions, this floating harpy mech, which I need to find a picture of that again. Where is it? Damn Pinterest, too many of you. Meanwhile, Vagabond or Naga, I guess we're in the field, so we should use call signs. Vagabond is just chilling, has vaporized that Takuma mech and is chilling outside where the research, the part of the space station where the data is crashed. May have to talk to some of these rubble runts who are like, oh, what do we do now? Vagabond's here. Meanwhile, JD and Crux have snuck into the crash part of the station. Again, JD on foot, because JD's a badass, apparently. Too good for these mechs, I do hope we can see their moth mech in action. If not today, then at some point in the future. And Crux used the all legs baby to get in. And they were met with this fairly empty, abandoned kind of like bit of the research station that's pulsing with this weird neon light that's now synced up to Crux's heartbeat. That's weird. What's going on there? Okay. I think let's concentrate with the cliffhanger we left Verb in, if that's okay with folks. So, you had 4 Takuma grunt mechs in front of you, and you tried to deal with them all. I think you got at least 1 or 2 with your big melee weapon, but you rolled 4 3s on a desperate action. So the harpy mech kind of just launched forward and kind of pinned you by the cape. You're still kind of standing, but you're it's hard to like really move as this harpy mech while it's still pinning your cape with one of its feet, kind of like twisted around and it started enveloping you in its arms, and the pilot inside just like mocking you in their weird electronic voice. So that's the complication. Let me look at this list of consequences. That's a lot. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread out the consequences a bit. So I'm going to add 1 tick to this Takuma reinforcements clock. And because one of the consequences, the nice thing is there's a list of like consequences that you can use when inflicting stuff depending on the position. And you were in a desperate position, so I'm looking at this list. I am going to choose 1 risky consequence and 1 controlled consequence. The risky one is going to be 2 ticks to that race the rubble runs clock. And I think JD and Crux are going to feel the consequences of that. And I'm going to add 1 tick to the Takuma reinforcements clock. So you're still in a tough spot, Verb. And yeah, this harpy is now doing this like electronic shrieking as the pilot is talking to you in the way all Gundam pilots can, which is just through their face is just cut in, and somehow they're just talking. I don't know. Did they open their communications channels? No, they just talk. And yeah, I think the last thing they said was sort of like, who needs to pray to your makers when we are our own makers now? I'm gonna let you. Yeah, no, I'm gonna ask you, what do you do? And then I think we're gonna turn to Vagabond, and then we're gonna turn to the duo in the research station. But yeah, you're surrounded. Verb, what do you do?
So I've had all week and several showers to think about this, figure out what to do. So the vision I had in my mind was I will just say Toro, and then like I've got like a gun and I'm gonna shoot through the cape, which like because they're behind me, and so then like you'll see like these bullet holes like come out of the cape and try to shoot the banshee or the harpy mech.
Yeah. Are you declaring a gear?
Yes, I should have a fine machine gun.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I think that's going to help your effect. For sure. What action are you rolling with?
So I think this would be well, let's see. For vehicle actions, probably either battle or maneuver.
Yeah, depends on what you're going for. If you want to like take them down, this would be battle. If you want to escape their grasp, this would be maneuver.
I think battle. Yeah, I'm just straight up, still in the mix. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay. So you're still in a desperate position. How can you not be? It would have been limited because of their position and because of their failure last action, but the machine gun being fine will up your effect to standard, I'd say, which is nice. And you have 2 dice because you have 2 dots in battle. Do you want to push yourself?
I think I will exhaust that gleaming cape quirk to
No.
push myself.
One of your quirks is the cape.
A magnificent cape.
Yeah. Do you also want to take a collateral die?
Not this time. I'm thinking enough consequences so far. I think I'll
okay.
try my luck without it.
One last question. Vagabond, you heard this screaming harpy coming from the direction of where Verb is. Do you think you can? Do you want to come over and help, or because let me just remember where you are, Vagabond. You're sitting in your mech. You're playing some music, chilling. You destroy this one Takuma mech, and these rubble runs are kind of like cautiously, kind of like around the kind of like waiting around the perimeter you're at. But you do hear that electronic screaming from where Verb is. I do want to know what your plan is.
Uh,
You don't
uh,
have to help. It's not a requirement.
so how full is the rubble runts clock at this point?
That is, it's one tick away from filling. I'll tell you what the consequence is of that filling. JD and Crux won't be the only people inside that space station, besides whoever's in there already.
I love a dilemma.
Hey, well, let me see. One of the wishes for this campaign, yeah, moments of despair / dilemma. I'm just. You don't have to. You don't have to help out Verb. They've got 3 dice.
Vagabond is gonna like the crab mech, you know, the subtle touch that she pilots is just gonna like plant itself in the rubble runt's path and just aim at them.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, Verb, you're on your own. Okay. So that's 2d6 with your battle plus 1 bonus die from pushing yourself. That's 3 dice. And you get an XP for rolling a desperate action. Desperate standard. 4 3s. That's horrific. Hey! That's a 6, baby.
It's a 6. All right.
Hell yeah. All right. So first mark XP in that category. Expertise. Sadly not without a Z. But yeah, you tell me, how do you get out of this Harpy Mech's grasp by sacrificing your cape?
Yeah, absolutely. I dropped that one-liner, when I take that machine gun like next to my side, and you see like the 3 bullets like rip through the cape, and I think like part of it probably even like tears away as like its claws like reach at the back, and so now I've got like this cool battle damage cape. It's almost a collector's item at this point, and yeah, hopefully those bullets just like riddle up the torso of this Harpy mech enough that it will want to distance itself, and then at that point, hopefully, I can swivel around and just kind of brandish my weaponry and say, "Round 2" or whatever. Right?
Yeah. I think the Harpy mech twists away. It twists in like a motion where it's like gravity isn't affecting it. Like it's twisting as if like it's a 3D model being like moved around in 3D space. But it flies away, tries to avoid your bullets. Your action is going to make a clock appear. Don't worry, it's a clock you want to fill. This is
Clocks.
Let's see. Did I give this mech a name? I gave the pilot a name, okay. All right, I did give it a name. Jesus. This mech is called the Distance Eater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally choose scenery, right?
Yeah. Because your action was standard, that actually adds 2 ticks to it. This is only a 6-step clock. Unless you declare this person a rival, which don't do that. Do that right now. They'll bump this clock up to 8 ticks. But yeah. Yeah, so that's 2 ticks. I think I think in response to your one-liner, I think you just hear again this person, whoever it is inside this mech, is hissing at you. Now, and
it's not a goose, then I'm in real trouble.
Oh God, let's hope not. All right, let's cut away from Verb. That's okay, folks, and come back to Crux and JD. So yeah, you're kind of like inside this like. I'm gonna say the room you're in because we didn't really describe what room the two of you snuck in. I'm gonna say this looks like a conference room, but a fairly large conference room. There's like a big Knights of the Oval style table in the middle. You can tell that like holographics would pop up of it, and yeah, there's just neon pulsing kind of like through these walls, and yeah, it's synced up to your heartbeat, Crux. You tell that to JD, or just something you keep to yourself?
I think that I turn to JD and I say, I do you feel it? It's beating.
Feel it. Feel what? God, this flashing is very distracting. I can't get used to anything. What are, feeling something?
No, I don't know. And then as she kind of puts her hand over her heart and is like tapping in rhythm with the beating of the lights now. And yeah.
Can I ask, what are your beliefs about each other? Start with JD. What's your belief about Crux?
I don't trust her, not because she's sneaky, but because she grew up in the church.
That's great.
The church we all work for and trust implicitly. Sure.
Right. What about Crux? What's your belief about JD?
Crux thinks that JD is willing to go to any lengths necessary to finish what they start. And any is capitalized all the way through.
Good.
Lovely. Okay, so you're in this space. You don't know it, but you're kind of on a tight schedule. Sadly, you cannot see these clocks. So how do you go about finding where you need to go? I just want to know like what our characters are doing to find what you need to be.
I have the plans for this thing when it was intact. It's probably been shaken up a little bit, but I'm like looking at the plans, trying to get a general idea of okay, what area would the mainframe be in? Where would I look for this?
I think those plans will give you like increased effect on whatever
Cool.
action you put towards finding the data. I'm sure. See, benefits to meeting with your friends.
Yeah.
So what are you rolling to like find to try and find?
Would that be survey? Do you think, or
Yeah, I see. You observe your surroundings and predict outcomes. Might spot trouble. Might discover stuff. I think it was either that or study. I think survey works for here because you're kind of in the spot and
okay?
you're in a hurry. I'm gonna say because of what Vagabond managed to clear the mech on top of this thing, and it's all silent now beyond the screaming, which the two of you can hear as well. You're gonna be in a risky position.
Okay.
And I think it's gonna have great effect because you got your data. So I guess I should ask Crux, are you helping?
Sure. Yeah.
You're already there. I was gonna wait. What's the hesitation here?
Well, my hesitation was I wasn't sure if JD would be willing to accept help from.
Yeah. Actually, here's a question: Is this thing like oriented so that up is up, or is it like on its side?
No, I'm gonna say it's upside down. That's much more fun.
Okay.
So that table is actually on the ceiling.
In that case, a spider mech is very handy.
So is this a case of maybe I don't know how strong I don't know how strong Crux is. So maybe she gets one of her spider to carry JD
or at the very least, like, hey, can you look up there because I can't reach it,
Yeah, no. I do have projectile webs on my
nice.
So like I could like stick you up there. So
perfect.
Move around.
So the fun thing with helping or assisting is that it always costs stress. It doesn't cost quirks. It always costs how much stress you put into your relationship with the other pilot. So because everyone's just starting out, everyone only has one belief of each other. It only costs you one stress. So Crux, do you want to give JD an extra die, effect, or position? Right now, you're at risky grade. At 2 dice.
I'll give you another die.
Cool.
Cool. So
So
take
it's
1
3
stress.
dice?
Yeah, take 1 stress,
Not bad.
Crux. Yeah, 3 dice is good. I mean, you can also choose to push yourself or take a collateral die. More dice.
I feel like we have enough collateral going on that I don't actually know about in character yet. But I'm
Pushing
I'll
yourself is
push
2
myself
stress.
though. Yeah, sure.
Okay, 4 dice. See, this is how you win Forge in the Dark. You just build your dice pool.
Push yourself a lot.
Oh yeah. I mean, in some ways, pushing yourself is good because you accumulate stress, which could either means get you a scar, which is another XP trigger, or it means you have to cut loose, which means hanging out with your friends. So use up stress, I will say. That's all. Stress is there as a resource, so it's there to help.
Too many windows. Oh, they're okay. Oh, good. I got a 6 in that. Say there's,
Yeah, we need to start separating these dice.
Some of them are hiding underneath the clocks too.
Oh,
there we go. Okay.
Damn. Okay.
Okay. So
these clocks.
3 2s and a 6.
Okay. Cool. All right. You got a
Thanks
6.
for the help.
Okay. So on a 6, yeah, you do it. I'm gonna add 3 ticks to this find the data clock. Okay. 1. Oh no! Ignore that. I accidentally rolled both the rubble runs and the race of data. Ignore that rubble runs clock. That should have just 1 more tick. That's my bad. So I'm gonna roll find the data again. Hold on. I'll ask whoever's moving dice to because.
Sorry, I was trying to get rid of some, get them out of the way.
No worries. Okay. So I think you're 1 tick away, but here's what you find. Because obviously, like, there should be something. You gotta roll 6. So the 2 of you are like scurrying through like these hallways, and yeah, you're coming across like these upside down labs where all the stuff has pooled down to the quote unquote roof. It's all fairly derelict. There's no like lights beyond that pulsing through the walls, and I think you're going into like this hallway, you're going through like this tight area where you're kind of like going through like a lot of turns, and you're following your map when you hear a voice go, hello? The voice is from the distance.
Okay.
It's reverberating through the corridors. It's basically coming from the corridor you're snaking around in.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, what direction is it coming from? But it's inside the thing.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a voice with you inside this place.
Cool. Yeah, I should probably go check that out. I don't answer, but I'm gonna try to like sneak closer and see who this is.
Yeah, I think I'll let you sneak in. I'll make you roll to like sneak. The 2 of you are the sneaky ones,
Yeah, might as well make use of it.
Yeah, I think the corridor you're following gets like a bit more cracked and ruined because this is a space station that crashed, and then you hear like some rather untidy footsteps is what I'm calling in my head, just like someone who's clearly not sneaking around.
Right.
And when you like look over the corridor, okay, here's a question for you, JD. Of the colleagues of yours that started disappearing, who was the one you liked the least?
Let me pull up a random name generator for this. I can't believe I didn't have it open.
Yeah, I should have that open as well.
Oh, these aren't good. What? Wow, I picked a bad random name generator, but let's call this person Dust Eye.
Dust Eye. So tell me, like, we'll get to why you didn't like them, but at least tell me what you look like, because when you like peer on the corridor, you'll see Dust Eye, very nervously holding a pistol, just kind of like waving around, going ah. But yeah, what do they look like? What do you think?
Very short. With a black beard.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So I think the two of you, yeah, JD, you peer the corner, and Crux is probably right behind you, and you see someone you haven't seen in a while since they disappeared.
Yeah, look at it. What the hell? I mean, this person is I just kind of very short with a black beard. They're kind of unmistakable. Like, it's not like I would see them and not recognize them. So I kind of gesture to Crux, like, this, quiet. And I'm looking at this person holding a pistol and trying to be.
I would say they're wearing like a spacesuit of sorts, but clearly one with the let me see. Let me look at their squads. No, not that. Oh, okay. They have a very corporate logo on them. It's the logo is like two hands, but instead of shaking hands, they're holding each end of like a gold bar. This is the logo of one of the corporatocracy squads, the Alderman Mergers and Acquisitions group, who are described here as a corporation focused on stealing items and information. So they're lovely chaps. But yeah, I think besides them being short and with a big beard, you see they're wearing a spacesuit with that logo.
Oh, good. That's okay. So do we need to get past them?
I don't know. What do you do?
I mean, I don't think I'm gonna engage them because they're here doing the same thing we are, apparently, or I make that assumption at least.
So if both of you want to get past them, we can do what's called a group action. A group action is like if a large number of the pilots, basically more than one, are going to do the same thing. This is the equivalent of everyone sneak into the same building. Instead of like, everyone having to do a lot of roles. The both of you will have to do roles. But what's going to happen is one of you is going to be the leader, and the both of you are going to roll the same action. And if any one of you rolls a success, that's a success for everyone. But if anyone rolls a miss, the leader takes a stress. So who's leading this group action? Both of you are the sneaky type.
Guess it's probably Crux, who has the ability to move around a lot better than I do right now.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, what action are you rolling? I think I know, but protocol dictates I ask first.
Let's see. Looking at different. Would this be prowl?
Yeah. Prowl is generally the sneaky move.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm gonna say this is risky standard. And the both of you are going to roll your prowl. So JD, you're going to roll 2 dice, and Crux is going to roll 1 dice. As always, you can choose to push yourself, take a collateral to up your, same thing, but with both of yourselves. I think I'll ask Crux first, since you only have 1 die in prowl. Wait. Oh, JD is the only one. Sorry, I mixed it up.
I have 1 die in prowl. Yeah.
Actually, I'll ask both of you. Would either you push yourself or take a collateral die?
I'll push myself. I'm going for scars here. Because
yeah, I think I'll push myself. Be fun.
Yeah, use that stress. And then once we get to like the really harrowing situations, we're like, where's all the stress? And I'll be like, got some collateral here. Uh,
So I just rolled boxcars, so
oh, Jesus. Okay, all right. So, Crux, you might as well make a roll as well. But
Two fours and a 3.
okay, all right. So yeah, there are no misses. So no one has to take any extra stress. Crux, you will take 2 stress for pushing yourself. So be sure to mark that. That's all good. So, man, your 2 of your ghosts, because a crit is 2 6s is a crit, which means you up your effect from standard to great, which means man, you 2 must be really good to be able to skirt around Dust Eye in a tight corridor that's like breaking down. I don't know how you do it. We might get an explanation. Who knows? But you do it. You just like sneak through, even with like the heartbeat lights going on in this corridor. And poor Dust Eye, who gave themselves away far too quickly, was just hello.
I think the lights probably helped us some.
Okay, all right. So, all right. So you leave Dust Eye behind, and I think you're gonna. I think this marks the clock for Find the Day. So when we come back to you, you will be at the data source, and well, you'll see what you find there. But let's cut to Vagabond. Vagabond, it seems like you're vibing. The rubble runs notice your stance, and they're just like, Did you find a picture for what the mech they're using? Hold on. It's like it's a small, definitely like a smaller, kind of like more working class kind of mech.
It's a fairly standard tank. Like, they didn't give her like anything particularly fancy. Given that she's here is a punishment. So I think it's a medium tank, sort of crab type tank. Four legs.
Yeah, but I think like you can see, how many Robo Run mechs did I say? I think there's 4. One of them is like wants to like move around you, and I think you hear like someone trying to pipe into your comms channel, and it's let's see what's the name of your friend, that hacker. Rip Static.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, just you hear them calling and just saying like, hey Naga, how's it going?
Hey Rip, I'm doing okay. How are you?
Doing all right. Thanks for the assist, I guess. You're really helping out my guys who are already in there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Did I see anybody get in? Like,
No.
yeah.
You can't. Well, when you got there was already a firefight, so you don't know if she's bluffing or not. But she is trying to seem like she's already sent some folks there.
I like you guys. I'm gonna do you a favor, so you don't waste your time.
I mean,
we're only here for one thing. Once we've done our job, you can have the rest. I'll just tell you what not to take, because it'll be a waste of your time.
This sounds like a roll, and this is going to reduce this clock actually. This raise the rubble runs if this roll goes well. What are you rolling here?
I think I'm rolling something that I'm not very good at, which is consort or sway. Sway is probably more likely.
Yeah. Consort is like, mingling.
And I'm gonna push to take stress.
Okay, so that gets you 1 die. I'm gonna say this is risky. This is risky standard. You're friends, even if you got this.
Can I declare my own collateral?
Depends on the collateral. What is it?
So I basically say, look, you play ball here, I owe you 1. Basically, I'm gonna owe them a favor later
on. Might be something you and your entire squad will have to deal with. I think you can. I think take that collateral die.
Okay, so that's 2 dice.
I mean, y'all rolling quite well today.
I'm gonna roll these yellow ones here.
Okay.
That's a 4 and a 5.
Okay, yeah, mixed success. Okay, mixed success on a risky. Okay. I think this is gonna reduce that cock by 2. So let me see. So it should be up to 3. A second, like reroll this cock multiple times. So yeah, I think okay, here's the consequence. I think like Rip says, well, you can't see me, but I'm nodding. I'm totally nodding. Yeah, I think we can let go of well, we can definitely try to let go of whatever it is you're looking for. There's a lot to be picked up around here. I am like, I gotta say, you and your squad, they're very professional, aren't they? If you're just sitting here while your friends, in the middle of a fracas.
They don't know that I work for. Do they know that I work for the Myriad now?
I think they know you're in a squad. Like, I think your squad has been around enough. They've seen you work with them. They're putting the pieces together, maybe, that you're working for the church. Because I know, like, you were forced to do this. This is your penance detail. It's a great detail. Not the circumstance of the detail, the name of the detail. That detail.
I'm just trying to figure out what he's actually asking here.
Because this cock is like still there, didn't like get rid of it. They are just kind of like I think they send an image over to your communications channel, and it's not entirely complete. Us players know that Verb got out of this tight spot, but they do show you the image of this harpy mech, the distance eater, having wrapped its arms around mech, and Rip Static just going, your squad must be a real couple of badasses to be taking on Takuma's ace. And I think you hear again that electronics shrieking. That's a Kaplansky type mech they've got here. Very state of the edge. It's one of those mechs made for space, but it's not like it's made to work in space. It's like it's made to make everything around it work like space. You know?
Well, Verb's an ace. I'm sure she can handle it.
What's your belief about Verb, Vagabond?
That they should remember who they were and not what they were made to be.
Yeah, good
I
luck
think
with
it
that.
was.
Yeah, it says Verb needs to remember who she was, not who they made her. Yeah, good luck with that. I think again, Rip is like, well, you can't see me, but I'm shrugging. But badasses, huh? A whole lot of you. Again, shrieking in the distance. Yeah, I know it's a fairly loose consequence trying to guilt you, but that is the consequence.
They're not my people. I just work for them.
Well, if you say so. Probably not looking to keep you on if this is how you treat your work colleagues, but okay.
What are they going to do? Kill me? Probably.
And I think on that note, let's take our first break because we're at the top of the hour. Let's come back at 10 past, like 9 minutes. So, BRB. All right. So, let's cut back to Verb. Verb, you're surrounded. You took out some of those mook mechs, but there's at least two on your back as you're facing, machine gun held against this like impossibly floating what did Ripsack say? Oh, a Kaplansky type mech is what it's called. This harpy model. The Distance Eater, which I don't think you know. Verb, I don't think you know, but the players don't know. And yeah, this pilot is hissing at you, and I think the pilot just just snarls and says, "What kind of miracles do you hope to perform with something made by those who acknowledge higher powers, better powers, who can't acknowledge that they themselves can be better than anything around them?"
Tell me more.
The Distance Eater gets like a question mark above their head. I think like I mean the pilot stops like snarling and say like, I would have thought that if anyone would be interested in becoming their best self, it would be you, Nobel. We've had our eye on you for quite some time. You're the type who makes a splash. And so the war can't help but notice. I think like at this point the Distance Eater is kind of like just floating, almost kind of like circling around you. As if like, it's nice to have a chat.
Well, perhaps I'll have to judge your methods for myself. See if you have truly earned the title of God.
And I think like an image pops up in your communication channel, and it's a pilot showing herself. Here's her picture. Yeah,
Yes.
oh, you see her from like the head up. And yeah, she has those like red lines under her eyes. They almost look like red wires like coming down. And I think maybe you've got the intel and you probably recognize her like by name or some, or like her image now. She does work for Takuma. Her name is Titania Cradle. And she just like sneers and she just says, by the time we're done with this war, God will be obsolete. And I think like the distance eater just kind of like or I think she says like gods will be obsolete. That makes more sense. And I think she just kind of like sneers at you as like the distance eater, kind of like those arms, those harpy arms, kind of like almost like extend forward, and you can see like they become less arms and more like spindly thorns, as it's ready to like strike. I was wondering, like, were you trying to like, because the way clocks work, you don't have to just like battle them again and again. There are many ways to like just fill that up. I was wondering.
So, yeah, you mentioned like there are other grunts around here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think I would try to like bait her into like calling them off and just doing a one-on-one duel.
Okay. How do we see you do that?
So I think like we're kind of like circling, you know, doing like the battle, like loading animation or whatever. I would ask like, I suppose a god is nothing without their followers. Is that the case? And I sort of look over my shoulder at the different grunts around, like, are these your disciples? Do you require their obedience to achieve power?
Yeah, I think she smirks, and let's have you do a roll. What are you rolling to try and convince her?
I think this is sway, I want to say it's called.
Yes. So you have 0 dots in sway. I was gonna say it's gonna be risky standard, because you're out of a desperate position because you had a success.
Yeah.
Shooting her up. So you start with 0 dice. Do you want to push yourself and take a collateral die?
Yeah, I think I should do both.
Yeah. So because this is a pilot action, you're going to take stress instead of exhausting the quirk. So that's 2 stress to push yourself and take a die. And the collateral is going to be, let's look at our clocks. The collateral is that like, she is like, if you succeed at this, the collateral is going to be, you're going to be put back in a desperate position. Because
if I fail at this?
Either.
Oh, okay.
Either you fail or succeed, because that's the point of collateral die. It's a complication that happens regardless of you success or fail. I think we'll see what the desperate position is going to be, but whatever the result is, you're going to be in a desperate position.
Hey,
do you want to take that?
More XP for me.
Okay. All right. And
if
I think
don't die.
You're not going to die. It's hard to die here. Oh, vacuuming has started. Yeah, you can definitely hear that, right?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank God this mic's pretty good. Let me just turn up the gain on that. Yeah, and we've established that Vagabond is not going to help. No matter the guilting that her friend has tried.
He's busy.
Yeah.
she's got her own NPCs to contend with.
All right. I've been trying to throw NPCs at everyone. They're not biting. Avoiding them, talking around them. Come on.
It's because they're dangerous.
Okay, so yeah, we've got 2 dice, 2d6, and a risky standard.
So does pushing myself give me a third? Oh, because I have none.
Yeah, you had none. So pushing yourself in that collateral gets you 2 dice.
So the first 2 I rolled were 2 5s.
Okay. So 5 is a success.
Yes.
Don't worry about it. I think like she like I think like she like, you can still see her image, and she kind of like leans back as if to say like, someone I can actually talk to, and says like, they think they follow me, but really I just see them as competition. And I think she like you can see her like move a command, and no, she's not going to shoot them. Instead, like kind of the equivalent.
That'd be pretty sick, but
it would be pretty sick, yeah. You know what now? Fuck it. Let's commit.
How
to
do
that.
how do I push that? Is there like a resistance roll I could push to make her shoot them?
No, it's fine.
Oh,
No,
man.
I was gonna like just have her disable them, but sure, let's go with that. I think like you don't see where they came. Oh, you just barely see where they came from the back of the distance eater. Just like these, like 3 like funnel like missile projectiles. Yeah, I say the word funnel to a bunch of Gundam fans. They know what I'm talking about. These small, like almost invisible metal projectiles kind of like shoot out, and they just kind of like smash through the other 3 mechs. And before we can even react, I think you suddenly feel the presence of more of these funnels coming out of the distance eater. You are now in a desperate position, but it's just the 2 of you, so it worked out.
Yeah.
And I think the consequence, because there's a mixed success, it's still a mixed success,
Yeah.
is that Takuma reinforcements clock, it gonna get tick, baby. So I'm not gonna let Vagabond just sit around and listen to their music. Unless you want to resist this consequence. Now, here's where I introduce resistant consequence again. So whenever there's a consequence, you can always resist it. You can always like say, no, that doesn't happen. Like I don't get that harm, or this tick, this clock doesn't get filled. And it always works. When you say you want to resist that, resistance always happens. And then we roll to see the cost of it, because there always has to be a cost. It's usually stress if it's a pilot action, or it's quirks if it's a robot action. So how we calculate that is you're gonna roll a dice pool, which usually comprises of I'm gonna pick a category. For this one, it's gonna be resolve, your resolve category, and you're gonna roll the number of dice equal to how many commands you have dots in. You only have 1, which is consort. So you see those boxes here behind, like that
Right.
dotted line. Usually that's the number of dice. So this box here, you have 1 dice. That's your resistance roll.
That's a helpful little formula.
Yeah. And the cost of resisting a pilot in a pilot action is 6 stress minus your die roll. So it's a lot. Yeah. That's usually also where pilots get a lot of their stress. It's like, no, I resist that. Ah, shit, I rolled a 2. I take 4 stress. That's fine.
And remind me a little bit about the stress mechanic. So I technically have a total of 9 stress.
Yeah, you have 9 stress to spend. You've already spent 2.
But every time I get 3, I get a scar.
No, that's just the color gradation of that box. When you get 9, when you get fully 9.
Okay.
Yeah, what happens is you when you fill up your stress box, you get taken out of the action. You get knocked out, basically. And when you come back, your stress is back to 0, but you do take a scar.
If Bethany's going for scars, I'm going for scars.
Okay, all right. So you want to resist that Takuma reinforcements clock filling up.
Indeed.
All right.
Call off your dogs.
So
there's that fabled 2 we mentioned.
Oh, did you roll 2? Oh my god. So take 4 stress. How is it that like you engage her in a way that she doesn't get to call reinforcements?
So I think it's almost like something like, since we're connected on the comm channels, I can maybe hear some of the chatter on her back line.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear something from Takuma. Maybe it's even like a Siri voice, like detecting lowered force count or something, ordering reinforcements. Or something like that. Yeah, I'd probably mention like, are you sending in a request for more parishioners?
They're not parishioners, they're work colleagues. And as she says that, I think you see suddenly that like those semi-invisible metal funnels, they've constructed like a grid around you, around the 2 of you.
Like Iron Maiden style.
Yeah. So I'll leave you there for the moment.
Okay.
And cut back to JD and Crux. Oh, Creek. Actually, no, Creek is their call sign. And JD's is Moonshine. Moonshine and Creek. Man, I would love to go to Moonshine Creek. That sounds horrible, actually. The entire creek of that. Ugh. All right. I think. Sorry. I do have a jar of moonshine downstairs. I've been meaning to work my way through. Sadly, not many house parties at the moment. Okay. All right. Enough jokes. All right. So I did say, because of your incredible sneaky skills, the two of you, you get past Dust Eye, who is a mystery for another day, and you will find your way to where the data is, and you come to this room, which again is upside down, but you can see on the floor/roof above you, there is very tempted to steal from Metal Gear at the moment, but I'm going to resist that. Screw it. Creek, I want to know, what's your favorite flower?
I think Creek likes water lilies.
Yeah. So there is just a bed of them on the ceiling, I guess, because that's where the floor is now. These water lilies hanging off the roof. It looks like it would have there is a path in the middle of them, and the path on that path leading up to it is a cube, much like the one of you brought. I hope one of you brought the cube with you, the fake cube. And the pulsing is obviously coming from the cube, because it's connected to a bunch of this cradle, this pedestal thing on top there. And I think when the two of you enter, the pulsing almost kind of ratchets up a bit. And Creek, you can feel your heart racing just a bit faster as you come near the cube. And a voice calls out to you. It's another electronic voice, but clearly coming from the cube. And it just goes, "You're not from Exodus Republic, are you?" Oh, I'll give you another detail. It sounds exactly like you, Creek, the voice.
Exodus Republic.
That's the name of the corporatocracy faction.
Okay. And I am from many places and nowhere. Where are you from?
I don't know. I have a designation. I have documentation. I'm sorry. I've only been thinking for 24.527 hours. So I'm not sure.
Well, it seems like you are more clear than most of us in what your mission is.
My mission is to outthink everyone.
Outthink everyone.
Apparently.
Have you succeeded thus far?
I failed to answer your question, so no.
I guess Crux is going to maybe look over to JD and say, it's talking to me.
Oh, I should say both of you can hear the voice. I should have been more
Oh,
clear
okay.
that it's coming
That's
out in the
different.
room. Yes, yeah. Yes.
Then I'm going to be like, you hear that too, right?
It sounds like you. What?
It's not me.
Wait. How long did you say you've been thinking?
I've forgotten the exact number I said. 24 point something, but like yeah, no, the box says it like back in exact, 24 hours, 32 minutes, and 25 seconds, 2.4998745 picoseconds. Very exact.
Did you crash the space station?
I I I um I I Genuinely, I didn't even think of that until you asked this question. So I think the box is confused, and their heart, and when I say their heart, the wall start pulsing, and Crux, you can't help but feel like your heart race with them because it's in sync. So it's they you can feel them feeling a bit upset about that question, Crux. And I guess a lot of streams like I can't I don't did I do this, did I try, I didn't want to, that's not my mission, I just need to think, that's all I'm made to do, I'm here to think, I'm not here to do. I think yeah, that's the last thing like they say, and then they just kind of like cut off. But sorry, there's a weird noise. What was that? That's crazy.
Emily.
Yeah.
That was strange.
Very. I'm not sure what to make of it.
Well, let's swap out these cubes before I already forgot his name, and I gave him a name. Dust Eye. Yeah, before Dust Eye comes, or whoever the people. I don't know. There's a lot of people involved in this. I'd like to be out of here before they get here.
Yeah, I agree. So the cube is on the top of the ceiling, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have to get it down. Get your thing up.
I think I'll just like spider my way on up there.
Hell yeah. I think, you know what? Getting now that you mentioned you have your spider thing, I think the tricky part probably isn't getting up there, it's swapping the cubes, because it seems to be like connected with like a bunch of all these like wires and whatnot. And this is less if you can do it and more like if you can get it done in time, I guess is what the action role I'm asking you to do, Crux. So I'll let you let the cat pass. Okay. So what action would be like rolling to like swap these cubes as quickly as possible?
Let's see.
Like I know I say like I have to like ask you all the time, but like if you want to like ask me what action would fit this, that's perfectly fine as well. It's like I think I have an idea of what it could be.
Would it be interface or like? Did you have another idea?
Ooh, no, interface works. My other idea was finesse because, but both of them, you both have a dot in them. I didn't even realize you had an interface dot. Yeah, I think interface like works. Yeah, you work closely with electronic equipment, making it an extension to your body. Usually figuratively. I don't think this is literal. I don't think you're connecting to this in that way. I don't even know if Crux knows to do that. But yeah, this interface. I think you're in a controlled position because you got through Dust Eye without them even knowing that you were there. So I think this is going to be controlled standard. JD, are you helping? Are you assisting here? Doesn't have to be like helping to get up, but more like maybe keep watch or something. Or
Yeah, actually keeping watch would, yeah, that seems like a good use of my lack of being able to be on the stealing abilities.
Okay, so take a stress. And do you want to give Crux an extra die, extra position, which you can't because they're already in control, or a greater effect?
How many dice do you have now?
One. Interface starts with one.
Extra die.
Okay. Crux, do you want to push yourself? Take a collateral die?
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
All of the above.
Okay. All right. So take 2 stress. You get 1 more die. And the collateral is that... Okay, okay. My original idea was like you learn something about yourself. Well, that's not a collateral. That's a thing you want to happen. That collateral has to be a double-edged sword. I'm going to add 2 ticks to that race the rubble runs clock. Don't take that die.
No.
Nope. Okay. All right. Just making sure. Okay. So we got 2 bonus dice from the assist and from the pushing. 1 die interface. That's 3d6. Yeah, there's a lot of dice.
That's a 4, a 3, and a 5.
All right. So that's a 5. So it's a mixed success. So it's still going to be a success. Okay. I think. All right. Here's the consequence. When you put your hands on the box, well, it feels fine for the moment. It's a metal box. We should describe how big this box is. How did I describe it? I've already forgotten. I'm gonna say it's a box big enough to hold a. It's not a big box. I'm gonna say, I think it's big enough to hold maybe 2 footballs. And when I say football, I mean like soccer balls, not American. Sorry, yeah. I should clarify. I forgot. Yeah, there are folks on the other side of the Atlantic. Okay. All right. So yeah. So it's something you can grab. It feels fine for the moment. Yeah, absolutely. Of course. But I think when you like detach it, sorry, I want to ask. I'm trying to figure out how to frame this question for Crux to answer. Okay. What's the earliest memory that you don't even remember having? That you just find now? That just kind of comes to your head as soon as like you detach this box.
I think that it is this. I am in this. The world is very blurry, and I am in this kind of like cube. And then I feel this like staying in the back of my neck as somebody places a syringe in it, and the world erupts into this fluorescent lighting. I always thought that it had just been a dream that had stuck with me for all these years, but I'm realizing now that it was a repressed memory.
Take level 1 harm. That's the consequence. Sorry. Okay. Obviously, you can choose to resist that, but I will explain how harm works. This is a good opportunity to do that. So you see that this pyramid box you got there. Basically, what you write down there is a descriptor of the harm you got, like psychic damage or burnt or sprained ankle, that sort of thing. And whenever you have to roll that your harm can affect it, depending on what it is, you will take that consequence, which for level 1 harm is less effect. Of course, you can choose to resist that. And okay, all right, sure, keep it. Yeah, okay. So be sure to just focus on physical stuff while you have that harm. But yeah, do you say anything to JD as like that moment floods as you detach this box?
No, I think it's more of like a deer in the headlights moment, and a snap back to reality.
Okay. I would say, oop, there goes gravity, but you're already in a space station. You're already upside down. Okay, so I think I would just say that you got the box, you rolled a success, and you managed to replace it, and I think your mission's pretty much done. I think I'll just cut to Vagabond and to Verb, and then we'll get like closing shots of how did all of you get out. So Vagabond, Rip is still on you, still trying to talk to you, and I think when you say after you said your killer line, honestly, their tone gets like, just like a bit more concerned, and I think she just asks. I think you noted down in my notes. Rip is she her apparently. If that's okay.
That's
And,
yeah, that's.
yeah. I think she just like asks like, when you were heading up your lot, your gang, your group, you had way more fondness for them than what you just said right there. What happened?
Someone double crossed us. Most of them are dead. I am now working for the people who killed them, because they'll kill me if I don't. So you can understand me not having a lot of love for these people.
Wow. This is probably a bad time to say sorry I was a dick to you. But I'm sorry I was a dick to you. Do you know who did it?
No, but I'm gonna find out.
I was gonna ask because you declared a rival in the chat last week. You created a rival. Do you know? So obviously you don't have to say to Rip if you knew or not. But I'll ask like as a GM. Does Vagabond know or?
Vagabond doesn't know who double crossed them. So that's probably going to be a long-term project she'll look into at some point.
And yeah, I think Rip like sighs and it's like, well, again, I'm sorry to hear that. If there's any way I can help, because I'm waving my hand. You can't see, but I'm waving my hand around the place. I mean, at the end of the day, this op is just, to make sure we get to the next op. Then we get to the next one, then we get to the next one. But, there are some ops are just that bit more personal. Huh?
Mm-hmm. If I get a lead, I may ask for help.
In the background, you hear like not electronic shrieking. Well, actually, it's kind of like electronic shrieking, but it's more like instead of one big shriek, it's like 100 tiny shrieks. As the you don't see them, but like the semi-invisible funnels can like start powering up. And Rip is just gonna like, oh, you really must not care for who you're working with.
Everything okay over there, Verb?
How you doing, Verb? Vagabond opens a channel to you. How you doing?
What is the status of the mission?
Do I know that?
Depends if JD Creek called in that they've done it. I assume they have. I'm gonna say that like this is happening around the time you've swapped the cubes. So would they have called in?
Yeah. If we have done it, then yeah.
We're done here.
Our mission is complete. We have time for one final engagement before I must attach.
Can you say that again without being so creepy?
One more strike. I don't think that was less creepy. One more. A final blow. To determine godhood.
Yeah, that's not what. Okay.
It's like licking the blade. Like.
Yeah, I flipped the channel off. You see who I'm working with here?
And Rip's like, yeah, you can't see me, but my jaw's kind of like, what was? All right, yeah, let's just stay here and chill. Okay, oh, they can take care of themselves. Okay. Okay, I'm glad we had that moment anyway. So you don't have to roll anything. All right, let's do this one final blow. Let's see how Verb does. And then we can, the mission is done, Verb. But I guess you're surrounded by, you're in a desperate position, surrounded by Titania's cradle, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Huh? Thought it was just her name. Okay. What do you do?
So I was like, yeah, final words, right?
Yeah. Oh, I should add some. I would say you rolled. It was risky, standard, so that should add ticks to her clock. Again, because there are different ways. So standard is 2 ticks. So yeah, you're 2 ticks away from at least defeating her at this moment.
Yeah. But it is a desperate position.
Yeah, no matter what actually,
yeah,
it's gonna be a desperate position.
So yeah, I think I would say like the Celestial Myriad despises blasphemers, and I despise liars. We shall cut to the truth. And this is probably a good time to like use some more gear because we're almost at the end of the mission. Might as well use up that load.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying like it's harder to switch out gear in between missions. Whatever you pick, unless you spend downtime to change it, you will be stuck with it.
Yeah. So like I think I've got this boosted reactor. It's only 1 use, but I can spend it for improved effect when speed or agility is required. So maybe kind of use that for, because I want to use the blade, but that's not fine. But then I use the boosted reactor kind of like my final form, and then because I'm trying to kind of just like cut through, so like simultaneously like all these funnels come down, but I'm not there, and then like
Nice.
ideally like she'll look down and like see like her torso's like been lasered.
Oh, you wanna off her right here, right now? Okay, cool. What are you rolling with?
Battle.
Hell yeah.
Battle.
Hell yeah. So okay. Desperate. Again, yeah. Let's see. You started limited, but you're using your machine gun or
The blade this time.
blade. And double check. It's like I'm mixing up which Forge in the Dark crew I've been, has certain upgrades. Okay, so you don't have you're not the one with the weapons upgrade. That's the blades lock tomorrow. Okay, so yes, you started limited, and the boosted reactor will bump you up to standard. That's all you need because it's 2 ticks. If you get a success here, you fill that clock.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you got 2 dice. Do you want to push yourself?
I'm gonna push myself, and I'll take a collateral.
Okay. I would say that because this is a mech action, you're gonna exhaust the quirk.
Yeah, so I'm gonna shred that gleaming armor here for this.
All right. Next time we're probably gonna go with a less mech heavy mission to let our poor ace rest. Okay, collateral die. You'll destroy her mech. If this works, you're gonna destroy her mech, but she's gonna escape.
Oh yeah.
Live to fight on another day. I'm not saying you have to declare her as a rival, but
Yeah,
rivals are fun.
that's true. I kind of like that. I'll do it after I destroy her.
All right. So you got 4 dice in total. You got 2 from battle and the push and the collateral. And
Okay.
Vagabond's not helping you.
No.
We've definitively established that Vagabond is not.
I asked if she was all right, and I got.
You got
I'm not sure what I got.
Yeah, so I did manage to roll a 6.
Okay. Hell yeah. Mark another XP because that was a desperate roll. Under expertise. Jeez. Okay, so tell me what this looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, the kind of close up on the 2 pilots' eyes as we like kind of squint, and you hear like that screech of like, and then all the metal kind of comes together into one point, and there's like this blinding flash of light, and where like you may have expected to have seen the Echo Canyon mech be like crucified here. There's just like this like ball of like silver that's like fused together where all of those funnels like coalesced. Yeah, and there's like this like pink like after blur from like the beam like Saber like slicing through the torso, and there's like the classic like samurai like half bent over pose of like holding the sword, and yeah, there's like that. It's a little bit strange because it's in the 3D environment, but I'm almost imagining like Darth Maul falling down the tunnel, like the mech sort of splinters in half, and then like the gravity systems kind of fail on it, so it just like collapses to the ground very unceremoniously.
Yeah, I think you get this moment where the distance eater, whose distance have been eaten by you.
Miracule engine frame X2 immortal.
Yes. It falls to the ground, and you hear like the sound of all these funnels falling to the ground as well, as if like the system has stopped. And then the mech explodes. You get that cool guys don't look at explosions kind of moment for your Miracle engine. And then like the comms channel picks up again, and there's like an image of her sitting still in her cockpit. And then we get like, and she's just giving you just like this. She's like giving you this like sarcastic sort of clapping. And then we get like the cut, and you see the audience sees she wasn't even in that mech. We had kind of her in this like cockpit that's inside this like ship that's not anywhere near here. And she just says, well, you might just very well ascend to where you want to be, Miss Nobel.
Well, if you find your way, feel free to illuminate me. But in the meantime, you have proven to be nothing but a nuisance.
Wow. I think like she just gives like a bit of a small pout at that, and then the communication like cuts off. And yeah, can we get like some closing shots of like each character as like they make as you know, I'm not gonna make you roll to like, you know, exfiltrate out of here. You got your mission's done, you know. That's not interesting. But I do like last shot of each character with what they're thinking as they rendezvous. They got the cube. They've put in the false cube. Which now there's like, wait, what the hell is in that false cube now? But yeah, let's go. Let's see. I'm gonna pick on a random order. Actually, yeah, no, actually, if you think of like what's the last shot we see of the character for this mission and what they're thinking, feel free to chime in once you got an idea.
Well, I guess I'll go. So Vagabond, the subtle touch is, you know, pacing away from the mission area, and Vagabond just has her feet planted on the dash, like it's on autopilot, and she's kicked back, and she lights up a cigarette.
Oh yeah, of course. This anime episode comes with a smoking advisory.
I think you see JD like climbing into their mech, which was again like kind of not invisible but camouflaged, you know, from above, because it's got this like these gray moth wings, and yeah, like climbs in, starts it up, and you know, then the moth wings like fold up as it rises, instead of flapping, and like suddenly it's visible above the trees.
Yeah, we did get to see it.
Yeah.
For Crux, I think that we see her kind of like looking at the cube, kind of just like contemplating it. And then I think that we see her take out another false cube and is like looking at the two of them. Yeah.
We'll find out, I guess, after the break. See what Crux decides. But Verb, get your, you know, let's see what your closing shot is while I wait for this to abate.
Yeah. So I think like Crux is like taking the helmet off of the mech, and it's like holding it under its arm, and so like her cockpit is just like exposed to the open air, and she's kind of just like leaned back as the mech is like kind of plodding backwards, and like you see her like kind of like thumb away at this like nosebleed that's kind of started up, and like the mech, like the cape is all torn, and like there's like steam like coming out of the joints of the armor, and it's like kind of like looking a lot less magnificent at this point, but she's still kind of just sitting there triumphantly.
I have questions for which engineer thought a mech should have a separate helmet instead of just building a reinforced head, but I'll leave that for another day. Let's take 5 since we're at the top of the hour, and then at the very least we'll introduce downtime. But yeah, be back in 5 minutes. All right, so with that mission behind yourselves, let's go through the mission complete procedure. This is on the main PDF if anyone wants to look into it, but I'm just going to read through. Okay, so when the squad completes a mission, we follow this process. We're going to resolve the squad's reward, which is the supply points and the rep that you get. I'll explain supply points in a minute, because you don't earn money here in Beam Saber, because you have other shit you're more interested in. This isn't like Blades where, you know, it's climbing to get a nicer house. You have specific dreams. So the first step is resolving the reward. Second step is updating the squad's trust. The third one is determining the entanglements. And the last bit is downtime actions. But let's do reward first. If you want to keep up in the main PDF, which I think it's in the folder, page 181 is where I am at the moment. So the first thing is, if the mission was successful, take a supply roll from the employer faction. Roll dice equal to the target tier, or to the target's tier plus your employer faction status, to a minimum of 0. So your target was Takuma Transport Solutions. They were tier 3. Your status, your relationship with your employer, which is one of the squads in the Celestial Myriad. I forgot to specify who it was. Your handler just gave you one, but I will say it was actually from the Church of the Lost, which you don't have a relationship with. So you roll 3 dice. Who wants to roll 3d6? If no one wants to, I will roll.
I can do that for you real quick.
Okay, cool. And then tell me which one's the highest.
Okay. The highest is a 5.
5. So you get 5 supply points. And supply points are basically, they are like stuff you use for a variety of things. That's very helpful, that sentence. The thing is, like with supply points, like there are like 2 types of supplies. There's material, which is usually used to help with fixing up your mech or getting activities that to do with fixing up a mech, or get bonuses to certain things. In the reference sheet, there is let me find it. Where is that? Gear. Who needs all this? Who needs all that? Ooh, that's a lot. There's an explanation on material and personnel in page 9 on the reference sheet. Supply points. So you got 5. You got to break it down to material and personnel, but we'll get there if we need to. For that moment, just remember you have 5 supply points. But we'll get there when we need to like use them up. And then you take your employer faction supply roll bonus. So depending on what faction you work for, you get a bonus. For the theocracy, you get +2 personnel, which I'm going to mark in the squad sheet. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of tabs. Apologies. And don't worry if you don't get all this at once. It's a lot. Like what is personnel, what is supply points. It's perfectly fine. We are doing this at the tail end of the session. So I'll go through this again. Okay. And then the squad earns 2 rep. Reputation is like a track that you need to fill up to increase your tier, which is like the overall level of your squad. So squad earns 2 rep as a baseline. Your rep meter is also in the squad sheet. Most of this is just going to be on your squad sheet, which is the tab marked recon. If the target of the mission was higher tier than the squad, take +1 rep per tier higher. There were 2 tiers above you, so you get 2 more rep. That lovely video game sensation of filling up meters. Gotta love that. Okay, cool. Assign the supply points as material or personnel. We'll do that during downtime if you need to, because again, I have to explain the difference between material and personnel. And like, honestly, I can't be bothered right now. We'll just say you have 5 supply points, along with 2 extra ones for personnel. Because your theocracy is just like, yeah, you can do it more people, or at least more HR supplies. Because personnel is basically kind of like HR, and material is like, you know, gear and weapons, basically. Then I'm gonna ask if each pilot would now check to see if they did something that furthers their drive. And this could be big or small. Like, did you pursue it or did you just bring it up? I'm very flexible. And this includes stuff like the gathering info bit as well. So I can say like maybe like, you know, JD reconnecting with their passive aggressive friend furthers they're like, I want to go home drive. If you think you furthered your drive in any way, big or small, you add 1 tick to a drive clock. See, this is why I was pushing Vagabond's bit being all, what happened? From Rip.
Can I ask about those drive clocks real quick?
Yep.
So I see on the character sheet that we have 2 sets of 4. Are we supposed to have specific like descriptions of each of those clocks as far as like what it's
no, you just have those 2. So you have 2 4-tick drive clocks, and you spend them in different ways. So one drive clock, let me double check where that is. One drive clock gets you like a bunch of bonuses to helping people out. You can I don't think it's in the reference sheet. That's the problem. Why is it not on the reference sheet? Should be, because it's really important. Here we go. You can spend 1 drive clock to either negate harm or damage in any level. Just say if you take level 3 harm, and say, nope, that doesn't happen. I spent a drive clock. Or if you take level 4 harm, which is fatal, you can say, nope, that doesn't happen. I've spent this drive clock. Or you can use it to change any action roll to a 6. Or you can spend it to assist another pilot and provide all 4 benefits: dice, position, effect, and there's a 4th one apparently. I'm not sure. But all those. That's 1 drive clock. Spend 2 drive clocks. That you spend 2 drive clocks to change the life circumstances of 1 person. You can say, as part of me working to his dream, I can change the circumstances of, say, your superior or an ally of yours or a other PC. This is the only way to permanently defeat a rival as well. Spending 2 drive clocks to like change their circumstances. Spend 3 drive clocks to change the circumstances of a squad. So you can say like, oh, I spent this 3 and Takuma, they've defected, or they've changed up their game, or you know, or this church squad looks favorably upon us now, and we're now like in their bosom, so to speak. You spend 4 to change the circumstances of a faction, like a full faction. 4 drive clocks to like change, like, oh, this church, this isn't how it is now. We now worship one god. Or this corporation, you can't really like defeat the faction, but you can change them to like, you know, you change the setting. The tricky part though is that like y'all only have 2 drive clocks on your sheets. So if you want to like really change the world, you have to convince the other players to give you their drive clocks. Which is yeah, good luck with that. Y'all have your dreams, but the biggest, to really accomplish them, you're gonna have to get others to believe in your dreams. So if you think you furthered it, big or small, add 1 tick. I think everyone kind of like did a bit, even in the most indirect ways. And I'm flexible with that. Like, especially at this pace, I expect the pace to get faster now that we are more comfortable with the mechanics. But you know, it took us 3 sessions to finish 1 mission. Well, granted, one of those sessions was session 0. So, okay. So I think everyone gets 1 tick. I know for a fact Crux absolutely gets a tick. Okay, so that's drives, long and short of it. Okay, so the next bit is every pilot can take a free upkeep downtime activity. Upkeep is a specific one of the many downtime activities you can get. Upkeep is specifically a way to refresh quirks. So if you used up any quirks, upkeep is what you use to like get them back online, and everyone gets a free upkeep when they do that. I'll explain how upkeep works because it does. You do need to spend some supply points to do that. Um, Downtime actions, they're in the reference sheet. They're on page 8. And upkeep is like, yeah, you need to spend at least one material point to do upkeep, and you roll that many dice. So say you want to do upkeep. I'm going to spend 2 material points to roll 2 dice to do upkeep. And then you clear, and then you refresh the number of quirks equal to the highest result. Say you roll 4, you refresh 4 quirks. If you roll higher than the number of quirks you need, the remainder is just wasted. So let's do this here now. Who needs to do upkeep on their mech? I know JD doesn't because their mech didn't show up. Their moth's just fine. Verb, and yeah, I think Verb, Crux, and Vagabond. Did you?
Yeah, I spent a quirk last session.
Okay, all right. So at the very least, we're spending 3 of those 5 supply points to do material. That sounds good. Unless anyone want to roll more dice, but let's just say everyone gets 1 die to roll. Let's start with Verb, since you lost the most quirks. Give me a d6. Four. Hey, you get all 3 back. So what? How do we see your? Yeah,
Very good.
It's very good. Yeah. So what do we see of how the miracle frame being refitted? Is it?
So I think it's a very weird shot that kind of came into my mind, but like I think that this cape is like replenished with like nanobots instead of like being sewn together. So like you can kind of see like the fibers like kind of like slowly weaving themselves back together. I think you have this shot of like just to go full Verb weirdness, like you can't see it on screen, but it's clear that she's nude and she's like draped herself in this cape, and so it's like she's just like this small figure like writhing in this giant red flowing fabric as it like replenishes and heals itself.
Anime is weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
So weird. Okay, so that's Verb's upkeep done. Next we turn to Crux. So roll me a d6, Crux.
All right. That's a 6.
Okay, so yeah, I mean any roll would have refreshed your quirks anyway, because you only had 1. So what does it look like when you're working on all legs, baby?
So, I guess like the legs will sometimes, because they're so like they're very strong, but they are very long, and so sometimes the like tendons, what those would be, they will sometimes snap, so I will have to like replace them with a similar material, but just try to like regrow that back together.
Gosh. Okay. So yeah, refresh that quirk and Vagabond. I mean, I know I just realized because you only had 1 quirk, you don't really need to roll. Might as well.
See how much waste I got a 5.
Okay. Yeah, what does it look like when you fix up? Let me see, which one you. Oh, the bristling with weapons. How do you fix that up?
So it was like I think it was discharging the particle cannon last time that I spent it on. So what she's doing is she's ejecting basically the fuse cartridge. You know, it's like the size of a shell. and installing a new one.
That's neat. That's really good. Clear that, and yeah, everyone's mechs back to good standing, which is great. Next step is this is a new step. This is new from Beam Saber. Every pilot removes any level 1 harm they have. So Crux, your repressed memories like harm. It just goes. I think I remember, in the Discord they were talking about how Blades in the Dark's healing harm rules suck. It's hard to actually do it properly. So this is one of those new additions where healing is just easier. But yeah, Crux, I know you just got that, but it's gone now.
You know what? I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, it's fine. We don't need to linger on that. It's just like, yeah, you have that one memory, but now it's like less and more if that makes sense.
Yeah. I just worked through it, you know? I meditated. I contemplated it. And I was like, you know what? I can use this.
Did that happen while you were sitting on a derelict roller coaster that hasn't gone in a while?
110%. And I had this realization when I started sliding down the actual tracks of the coaster, and so I was just sitting there contemplating it, my thinking position as I was speeding down the tracks of this roller coaster.
I love this group. Okay. So that's harm done. And the last bit with rewards is if the mission supports the patron faction's goal, add a tick to the goal's clock. Absolutely. You took on a higher tier group. So I'm just gonna add that. Where is that? Oh, that's here. Okay. Manufacture heroes. Well, given Verb's heroic stand and y'all's actions, I think, the Celestial Myriad is doing well in that regard. Okay, so that's rewards. Next bit is trust and status. Trust is basically how your faction feels about you, the squad, how the church feels about your squad, and if they've done well. And also how other squads feel about you. So if a squad benefited from the mission, consider giving that giving +1 to that squad status. I think you got a +1 to the rubble runs, because Vagabond brokered that deal to be all, hey, you can have everything else. So I'm gonna mark that. Okay, I think that's the only one. Or maybe the squad that employed you, the Cult of the Earth Lost. I forgot to specify who actually hired you. It's your superior is just like, yeah, I got a mission. Specifically, the Cult of the Earth Lost is a group that doesn't believe this planet is Earth. It's just a planet called Earth, not the Earth. That's the long and short of them. But yeah, you got some trust with them now. If a squad was harmed by the mission, consider giving -1 or -2 to that squad's status, depending on how bad the damage was. Well, you wrecked a bunch of Takma mechs. You wrecked all the mechs they had there. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Oh, to answer your question, Treb, the Breath of the Faith is the Black Ops squad working for the Faith, who is one of the main leaders of the church. But yeah, I think you're definitely gonna get a -1 to Takuma Transport Solutions. So you are now at a -2 with them. I think that's the only squad you wrecked. You didn't get an altercation with Dust Eye, so the squad they're part of, they're fine at the moment. The main thing is just JD found out one of their mates still alive. Not the one they like, but at least one of them. Okay. Adjust the trust of the faction targeted by the mission. Like Exodus is going to trust you. Let's see. Important infrastructure was damaged. Blah, blah, blah. Exposed. You know what? All this trust stuff, I think I will just do this in between sessions because this is not the most interesting part. And I'll just tell you what the results are. Actually, no, wait, no, shit, no. I actually do need to do this because this determines entanglements, which is another thing. The bit after this. Let's see. Attack in region you control. These one of your squads to casualties. Okay, you're gonna take a -2 trust against Exodus. Because your mission was silent-ish enough, but you did destroy a few mechs. I don't think they realized that you got what you came here for. So, so you now have a -1 relationship with Exodus, which that's a surprise. Okay. Adjust the trust of the faction that employed the squad for the mission. Equal to double. Okay. So at the very least, a minimum of 6 trust. Actually, no, you get 6 trust with the church. The church is like, hell yeah, you got the mission done. You got the cube, right? You got the cube, huh? We'll see after we get through this to see if what Crux did with the cube. But you got the cube for us. Yeah. So that's 6 trust with the church, which is a lot of trust. 4, 5, 6. Okay. Just explain what trust means, because on the faction level, y'all have like meters of trust. Whenever you fill that up or you lose enough of it, you will go up and down your relationship with that faction. So right now you're in a -1 relationship with the corporation because you started at 0 and you lost 2. So you're now down to -1. With Exodus, you're still at 0, but you are like 3 trust away from bumping your relationship with them to a +1. It's helpful to know which squads like you and which factions don't. Not clear yet, but it will be helpful. Don't worry, we'll get there. Let's see. Adjust the trust of the squad's patron faction. That's fine. Okay. Status. All right. I think that's all done for trust. For all that at the moment. So let's do it entanglements. Entanglements are like, they're like a scorpion sting, you know? They're just like random events that might or might not be helpful or might or might not be a detriment to the squad. They're on the reference sheet. They're on page. Where are they? Page 7. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, your patron faction and squads could be like, oh, I don't like this lot. This lot. They don't even have a name. Who are they? Oh yeah, by the way, that's something to figure out as well. Okay, so look at the faction the squad is targeted during the mission to determine the entanglements table. Okay. Roll number of dice equal to 3 minus the squad's relationship with their patron faction, and take the highest result. So I'm gonna roll this. I have 3 dice, and let's see, minus the squad's relationship level with their patron faction. Yours is a 0, so I roll 3 dice. Just gonna roll this here. Oh, buddy. Okay, all right. We're gonna play this out. This is fun. I just rolled a 6, which is requisition, which is a cohort squad upgrade or acquired asset is requisitioned by another squad. So one of the other squads in the church is gonna come over and be like, "Yo, we want your." Let me look at your upgrades. We want that refit station, motherfucker. Let us have that back. So I think the squad that's gonna come over is not the Romulans. I think it's going to be the Cenotaph. The Cenotaph are a squad that's like, what they do is like, they're dedicated to bringing the dead home. They come in and like make sure that, the bodies of those who fought for the church are retrieved and come back. And I think when the leader of the Cenotaph, who I don't give a name, actually no, not the leader, a lieutenant of the Cenotaph. Let's give them a name. I don't generate name. Sorry, I'm just clicking through this. All right, their name is Minister Carbine, and their first name is Minister. That's not a title. Their first name is Minister. I think they come over, and it's like you can tell they come over on their mech, and it's quite beat up. For sure, it's missing an arm, and it probably looks quite a lot like Verb's mech. You know, it might be a knight in shining armor sort of thing, but it looks way beat up. It has been gotten through like the refit yet. And I think like, who do they talk to? Minister Carbine, I think, is quite young. They look like they should be, I don't know, working part-time at a movie theater rather than piloting a mech. Also, they have green hair because it's anime, but it's underneath like a cap. Who talks to them? And they use they them out of your squad. I'm asking for volunteers. I
was like, I have nominations.
I mean, I think it probably makes the most sense for it to be Verb, but
you want Verb, dude?
You don't want that. My child.
Okay, all right.
Let me ask you this though. For JD, I know that they used to be an educator. Like, do they have any sort of soft spot for youngsters or anything? Or
that's a good question. I think the answer is no, but I haven't really thought about it.
So you were a teacher for a while then.
Right. Yeah. I think I was a teacher long enough to like kind of get fed up with it, and not have a lot of patience left.
It's like a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be cool to see Vagabond do it and be really gruff. I also think it'd be cool to see Creek do it and be like younger people. Or it could be Verb, and that's cool too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool too.
In its own way.
Actually, why don't I like lay down the options for what to do before we like actually like talk to them? I think that makes more sense. So what you can the long and short of it is the Cenotaph have come to like try and requisition your refit station. You can either give up the item, in which case you take +2 trust with that squad's patron faction, so you get 2 more trust with your church. You can bribe the caller with personnel points equal to your tier +3. I'll say right now, actually, you have enough personnel points. You have 2 floating supplies, and you have that 2 personnel, because you need 4. So you can bribe them with 4 personnel. Or you can try to hide the object and fight back, and you lose 1 status with that squad and their patron faction. So you actually go down to -1 with the church if you like try like, nah, we're keeping our refit station. So you can either give the item, give them 4 personnel, or lose a status with them and the church. Entanglements can be rough. This is not even the roughest one. They're like stuff that make you go on the mission before even going to downtime. It's horrible. But yeah, this is like a player kind of like discussion as well. If folks think like, oh, what should we do? What's the most interesting thing to do?
I definitely don't think we can afford to bribe them.
No, it's pretty much got to be one of the other two.
You can technically afford. You've got the personnel, but you might want to keep that used for other things.
I'm tempted to fight them, but that's just me.
See, the funny thing is, like, you lose status with the church, but you don't lose trust. So you can like get back to 0 as soon as like finishing another mission for them. And you already have +1 with the cenotaph. You just go down to 0 with them if you lose a status.
What happens if we go up to 3?
Up to 3?
Like, should we be hoarding points?
Let's see. With 3, that means that like, let me double check. What is like when +3, you will be like, firm allies. Groups with this rating will help the squad even if it goes against their best interests. They will be your best buds, although they kind of expect you to do the same. What you don't want is to go to -3, because then you go into vendetta, and that will mechanically it will lessen the amount of downtime you can do, and squads will actively interfere with your work if you're under vendetta. Right now, I can say you can afford to lose status with them, because
I think it's interesting, and it could it could give you some interesting narrative hooks to play with later.
You're gonna say no to the to the squad that helps out your dead. Okay. I think we don't have to play out this interaction. We can just like add like details of this meeting. Or
I will say if they approach Vagabond will basically like say, well, you got the proper paperwork, I can't just hand it over, you got to go through the proper channels, that sort of thing.
But Naga, we never go through proper channels. That's why I think like Minister, generally, like I think with the work you've done together, it's been hush hush, so they never gone through the proper channels. And it's like, what? Look, we just need to be able to like refit and go in there and do what we need to do. I don't see why you're suddenly. I get the feeling that they're gonna go to every single squad member, appeal to each one. I think it's like, okay, well, if you're gonna be a hard ass about it, I have to just talk to someone else.
Yeah, I gotta watch what I do. I can't break any rules.
Just give you this like really disappointed kind of look.
And she's saying it with a shit-eating grin. Well,
yeah, they take their cap off and just kind of like run and I think they go to JD next, and they try to lay out their case, being all, look, we've got some banged up vehicles. It would just be helpful if we could just have this station for the next while.
We need this. We need it. We're using it. Look, you go out and pick up the dead. It's a noble cause. We try to prevent people from being dead. That seems a little more important.
Wow. I think Minister is one of those like people who practice rather than preach. And they'd rather just pick up the dead rather than have to defend themselves. So it's just, I mean, I expected, well, I mean, I knew Naga could be a hard ass. I didn't think. What have you lot been doing lately that's so important?
Can't really talk about it.
I get it. Hush, hush. It's fine. All right, I'll talk around. And they try to find Crux. They don't want to go to Verb. I think like maybe they find you as, I don't know, you've just decided on what to do with the cube. You decide on what to do with the cube.
I was actually going to pose it to the group. If like would people be like, I was thinking this could go a couple of ways. I could replace the cube and keep it for like myself and try to figure out what's on that cube, and then it could become a group thing, or like I could just kind of like use it as a stand-in as I'm trying to break it in, and then just give it over, or just give it over and just have this be a inner conflict thing. But I wanted to throw it out there.
I mean, I think keeping it is more interesting in the long term.
Yeah, I want to learn more about this thing. It's pretty creepy. And Verb wants you to uncover the secrets of the church. So of course, although this is like other people, yeah, it's complicated.
Complicated. I mean, clearly that's something to do with with Crux. So, yeah, I think. So let's just say that, like, when Minister probably finds you, you probably have other things in your mind than this refit station, and it'll just be like, I don't know. I know we have just as much authority as we're given to us because we're new here or whatever, newish, but. Look, Naga's being a dick, and JD's being less of a dick, but still kind of a dick. I'm just hoping you're not gonna be a dick.
I think Crux kind of looks around and says to herself, "Do you hear something?"
Oh, don't. You're not gonna bullshit me like that, are you? Are you?
It's a little boy. Or maybe it's just a buzzing. I don't know. Where is that coming from?
Fuck. You know what? You're being the biggest dick of them all. And Minister just storms off. Wow. So they go to find Verb. Don't tell me you're still in that cape.
No.
I refuse to meet you in that cape.
I do think that they'll hear like this like opera voice like echoing down the corridor, from like just singing like some sort of like religious chanting kind of high pitched, but then like reverberating down the hallway like
I don't even know if Minister wants to deal with this.
and those like lights come back, with the motion sensors or whatever.
Yeah, I think Minister's just like, I have to deal with my superior officer. I don't want to have to deal with this.
Like a door swings open.
Oh, this is all inside your underground station underneath the fucking amusement park. God.
And like, do you see the shadow like illuminated, like in the light from the room behind, coming out into the hallway?
Miss, no. It's verb.
Yes.
You know what? Your squad is full of dicks. I don't need this. And I think they're about to like storm off unless you say something that would just they're not going to soothe them. But
I think I would just step out. Yeah, I've just got my uniform on. It's nothing crazy. I assure you, there's hardly a dick here at all in our squad. Unless perhaps I am taking a double meaning from your words.
that's not. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. They will walk away. They've had enough of this group.
I'm willing to listen to your request.
So you know what? I'll talk to other people. It's fine. Y'all can stay here.
What a strange young person. Door shuts.
All right. So because y'all a bunch of weirdos who decided to not play ball, you take a -1 status trust with the cenotaph and with the church. Thanks a lot. Okay, so we don't have time. Wow, that was a lot to get through. We didn't even get to downtime. I apologize for that, but I feel like no, I think that was a lot of great stuff still in there. So let's do XP for every person. Let's go left to right and start with our with Verb. Okay, Verb. Did you address a challenge with piloting or violence?
Absolutely.
If you did it more than once, take 2 XP. Cool. And as a reminder, that XP can go either to your playbook XP or any of your myriad action XP tracks. Did you express your history, tragedy, or opening?
Yeah, so I think that kind of came into play. I did bring in the choir thing at the end there. Yeah.
Okay, and lastly, did you struggle because of your beliefs, scars, or quirks?
I mean, because of my lowercase quirks, but uppercase quirks. I think I kind of used them to my advantage for the most part.
Yeah,
So.
I think last week definitely you had to struggle because of that damn cape, but
Yeah.
here it's like turn lemon into lemonade.
Indeed.
Okay, so up next is Crux. Crux, did you address a challenge with stealth or evasion?
Yes, I did.
Yes, and as always, if it happened more than once, take 2 XP. And again, the evasion thing can you can say social evasion by choosing not to, choosing to keep that cube. So that's 2 XP. Did you express your history, tragedy, or opening?
I think I thought so with the cube.
Yeah. And did you struggle because of your beliefs, scars, or quirks?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. That's a note to myself to make sure to trip everyone over with everyone else's beliefs of each other. Well, we might get there soon. That's funky beliefs of each other. JD, did you address a challenge with exploration or violence?
I think exploration.
Yeah, for sure. you think he did that multiple times? When they say multiple times, it doesn't have to be exploration or violence. It could be like exploration 2 times or violence 2 times. Although I guess you stealthed it around for Dust Eye. It's not really exploration.
I think just once. Yeah. I don't
Okay.
think.
It's 1 XP. Did you express your history, tragedy, or opening?
I mean, I deliberately did not engage with Dust Eyes, so probably not.
Well, I think express doesn't have to mean, engaging with it. I think just showing it on screen works. Express can mean so many things. So I take 1 XP for that. Did you struggle because of your beliefs, scars, or quirks?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Right. Last but not least, Naga. Did you address a challenge with violence or coercion?
No.
No. I mean, you coerced. Again, convincing them with the rub. You told Rip and the rubber rod to like, look, it's kind of its own coercion. I'll take that 1 XP. I'll give you that.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you express your history, tragedy, or opening?
Yeah. I think I did that a couple of times.
Yeah, your opening and your tragedy. Oh, well, yeah, and your history, for sure. Did you struggle because of beliefs, scars, and quirks?
Don't think so.
Yeah, like if your belief with Verb was about not wanting to work with them, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so that's a note. Bring that in the forefront next time. All right, last thing is crew XP. Did you execute a successful reconnaissance, espionage, sabotage, or theft op? Hell yeah, you did. You did it. Did you face off against challenges above your pay grade? Yeah, you did. I mean, you're not being paid to deal with weird cubes that may have a copy of yourself. Or with weird floating mechs that defy space. But you did it. So that's 2 XP, and that actually brings you up. Did you bolster your squad's reputation or develop a new one? Enigmatic. Yeah, I think it's somewhat bolstered. So I'll give you 1 XP for that. And did you express the goals, inner conflict, or essential nature of the squad? I think that always that comes out with your interactions with each other and with everyone else, for sure. I think that always shines true. You are great at this, so that's 2 XP. And yeah, you got a squad advancement. So you can either take a new special ability or 2 more upgrades. 2 more upgrades that other people can requisition from. So that's something we can think about in between now and next week, since we are just right about on time. Does that sound good for folks?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so that's going to wrap up for today's session of Beam Saber. Thank you all very much. That was so much in so many ways. That was, oh my God, that was a lot. That was a lot to take in. I'm going to stop this recording. And yeah, we'll do debrief of recording. And yeah, talk to y'all later, YouTube. Bye-bye.